Greetings of the day to all the viewers. Today we are going to revise the chapter Shares, which is part of Unit 1 of Semester 1 of FYBCOM Mathematical and Statistical Techniques. So let's see what exactly are shares. A share is the smallest unit of a company's capital. Suppose that few persons come together to form a company. These persons are called as the promoters of the company. They need a huge capital for the company, for which they want to approach the general public. These promoters want to sell shares to the public and collect the required capital. In order to do this, the company comes out with the initial public offer, the advertisement of which is done through print media, electronic media, and brokers. The offer is for a limited period and interested people are required to apply in order to buy the shares. The price at which the company sells the shares is called as the face value of the share. The company then allots shares to these buyers as per the availability of the shares. Once a person buys shares of a company, he or she becomes a shareholder and thereby a part owner of the company. Let us now see how face value is calculated by the company. Before we see the calculations, one should note that face value is also known as nominal value or par value. Now remember that the face value is decided by the promoters of the company. If the capital needed is rupees 1 crore, then the company can issue 1 lakh shares to the public with face value rupees 100 each. You are please requested to note that rupees 1 crore is 1 lakh multiplied by rupees 100. Or, in order to reduce the face value to let's say rupees 10, the company can instead issue 10 lakh shares with face value rupees 10 each. As you can see, rupees 1 crore is 10 lakh multiplied by rupees 10. Or still better, if the company wants to issue shares with face value rupee 1 each, then they will have to issue 1 crore shares to the general public. So, what one has to understand is that the face value is decided by the promoters of the company. It can be rupees 100, it can be rupees 50, it can be rupees 10, it can be rupees 5, or it can be rupees 1 also. Now that the concept of face value is clear, let us see the different types of shares. Mainly, let us try to understand preference shares and equity shares. As the name suggests, preference shares are given preference over equity shares. When the company has a profit, the preference shareholders are first given dividend at a fixed rate, and only after that has been done, the company may give dividend to the equity shareholders. Preference shares are of two types: cumulative preference shares and non-cumulative preference shares. If for some reason the company has incurred a loss or less profit and the cumulative preference shareholders are not paid dividend, then this dividend gets accumulated in the next year and will be paid in the following year. In case of non-cumulative preference shares, this dividend is not accumulated. Equity shareholders are ordinary or common shareholders who get a dividend only after preference shareholders are paid dividend. That too, only if the company decides. The rate of dividend is not fixed and is decided by the board of directors. To move on further, let us see how shares are purchased and sold. When the company sells its share for the first time, it is through the initial public offer and at the price of face value. Once the IPO process is done, the company gets listed on the stock exchange. After this, if anyone wants to buy or sell shares of the company, it should be done through the stock exchange. The price at which buying and selling is done is the current market price. This price changes as per the demand of the shares. If the market price is same as the face value, the share is said to be traded at par. And if the market price is more than the face value, the share is said to be at a premium or above par. But if the market price is less than the face value, the share is said to be at a discount or below par. Buying and selling of shares can be done through a broker. This broker charges us a commission which is called as the brokerage. It's very important to note that brokerage is always calculated on the market price of the share. Before we move further, let us understand the concept of dividend. When a company makes good profit, it may share this profit with its shareholders. This is in the form of dividend. Dividend is calculated as percentage of face value, and this rate of dividend is decided by the company. To calculate the dividend obtained, we use the formula total dividend is equal to rate of dividend upon 100 multiplied by face value of one share multiplied by number of shares. Let us now go through the formula that we can use to solve the problems. When we want to calculate face value of all shares, this is exactly equal to face value of one share multiplied by number of shares. Exactly on the same line, if we want market value of all shares, this is equal to market price of one share multiplied by number of shares. In order to do the buying transaction, we need to understand the following three formulas. Brokerage for one share is equal to rate of brokerage upon 100 multiplied by market price of one share. One has to carefully note that brokerage is always calculated on the market price of the share. Once this is done, we move on to find the purchase price of one share. This is equal to market price of one share plus brokerage for one share. But again, if there is no brokerage, purchase price is exactly same as the market price. Further, if we want to find investment, the total investment is nothing but purchase price of one share multiplied by number of shares. After the buying transaction is done, if the problem mentions dividend, we can use the dividend formula to calculate dividend. This is same as the formula in the earlier slide. Here we can find dividend for one share, which will be equal to rate of dividend upon 100 multiplied by face value of one share. As against this, we can also find the total dividend, which is rate of dividend by 100 into face value of one share multiplied by number of shares. For the selling transaction, one should go through the following three steps which are parallel to what we had done in the buying transaction. We first check for brokerage. Brokerage for one share is equal to rate of brokerage upon 100 multiplied by market price of one share. Once brokerage is calculated, then the amount that will be received on the sale of one share, or which we can also refer to as the selling price of one share, is equal to the market price of one share minus brokerage for one share. Please note that if there is no brokerage, selling price is exactly same as the market price. Once this is done, the amount received on sales is equal to selling price of one share multiplied by number of shares. So far, we have seen the buying and selling transaction as well as dividend calculations. The next step is obviously finding the gain and the rate of return on investment. The total gain, or which is also known as the profit, is given by amount received on sales minus total investment. If the company has distributed dividend, then the total gain is equal to amount received on sales minus total investment plus dividend. If the problem does not mention the number of shares, then we can find the gain for one share also. Gain on one share is equal to selling price of one share minus purchase price of one share. If the dividend is given, then gain on one share is selling price of one share minus purchase price of one share plus dividend on one share. To find the rate of return on investment, or in simple words, profit percentage, one should understand that profit percentage for one share and for any number of shares is exactly the same. This means number of shares can be anything, 100, 50, 200, 150, 1000 or simply 1. The profit percentage is exactly going to remain same. Hence, we can use either of the formulas to calculate profit percentage. This is given by total gain upon total investment multiplied by 100, or just as I said, it can be calculated only on one share. In this case, the profit percentage will be given by gain on one share divided by purchase price of one share multiplied by 100. Both these formulas will give exactly the same answer. Before we wind up, let us now look at what are bonus shares. When a company has huge reserves, it may decide to convert it partially into shares. The company then issues bonus shares totally free of cost to its shareholders. This strategy boosts the morale of the shareholders as well as creates a good image of the company and acts as a goodwill of the company. The ratio of bonus shares is decided by the company. For example, if a company decides to give 2 bonus shares for every 10 existing shares, and let's say Mr. Shah already has 100 shares of the company, then the number of bonus shares issued to Mr. Shah will be in the ratio of 2:10. That is, he will be getting 2 upon 10 multiplied by number of existing shares, which is 2 by 10 multiplied by 100, which gives us 20. Hence, simply put, the number of bonus shares issued will be equal to ratio of bonus shares declared multiplied by number of existing shares. One has to note that as the company issues bonus shares in a fixed ratio, the number of shares of a shareholder increases, but the percentage of ownership remains the same. With this, we come to the end of revision session of shares. Hope this discourse will supplement the classroom teaching and help in providing more clarity of the concepts. Thank you very much.